Hey, Zach, things got out of control there pretty quick. But it seems like you and Domas are really developing a nice two-man game. Do you feel that? Do you see it on the court?
Yeah, we're starting to get more and more connected with DHOs, and then mix that in with him setting screens and rolling. So um, obviously we played that well together, and we just got to figure out how we can consistently do that. And obviously, when you don't get stops, it's not good.
You've watched Nique over the last couple of weeks just work on his game. He was aggressive offensively tonight. Just what did you make of his performance?
It was good. The more we put him out there, the more opportunity he gets. He knows how to play. He's strong enough physically, and he's aggressive, and he has the right mindset. So we've been seeing it in camp, but I think the more and more opportunity you get, the better you're going to keep seeing him play.
Obviously, shots weren't really going down tonight, but what did you think of your guys' process and how they were created and the looks that you got?
Hey, we got good shots. But regardless of making or missing them, you're not going to hit shots every night. So we got to figure out a way to, pretty much negate that and still figure out ways to put the ball in the basket. You saw with them, they got to the free throw line a lot more than us. So that's a way to easily, slow the game down or keep it closer. Yeah, obviously getting stops on the defensive end is helping that. So regardless of shots going in or not, we got to figure out a way to bridge that gap.
Zach, obviously it's preseason and the games don't necessarily matter, but how is there any extra importance on trying to get a win before the season starts?
Yeah, I mean, you always want to win. But I think more importantly, you try to nail down the things that you can do better. You emphasize the things that you did well. I think we created a lot of good shots for ourselves, but defensively, I think we gave up a lot of easy baskets, and that can't happen once the regular season starts.
Talk about defensively. I know you've said before that it's a process and it might take a little bit of time, but where do you feel like you guys are at in terms of that process and how quickly can you get to where you need to go when the regular season starts?
Yeah, I mean, we still got to pick it up. It wasn't pretty tonight. They're a good team, and they exploit matchups, and they play to their strengths. As you should. And they hit some shots, but I think you got to figure out how to, even if you're undersized or if you're playing different positions, how to negate that. But you give them credit for hitting shots.
Zach, we got a chance to look at Collins and Brook Lopez. What,
Yeah,
what do you think about that addition that the Clippers?
that's a huge addition. And, it's John Collins as well. They got CP's veteranship. And Brad and Bogey didn't even play, so they're a good team. A good team, but especially I played against Brook in the East for the last 8 years. So you're not going to get a lot of shots at the rim unless you run them. You gotta get some stops.
Zach Domas left in the third quarter. It says he had a little bit of a hamstring issue. Any level of concern there or any
I didn't know that.
indication?
That's the first time I heard that.
Yeah,
So
so
I'll go check on him afterwards. I didn't know.
just given what you guys are already going through, then to just to hear that now, how much concern is there, and is it just kind of another blow right now that you guys got to deal with?
I don't know what's the severity of anything. Like, I just heard it from you. So obviously I hope he's okay. That's don't want to see that, but until I figure out, I don't know.
Zach, you talk about playing. You guys need to play to your strengths.
Yeah.
Do you have a sense at this point in camp what you think those strengths might be going into the season? Or are you guys still trying to figure that out on the fly, or do you have any idea what those strengths might be?
I mean, individually, I think we all know what our strengths are. We got a guy that's made 25,000, 26,000 points, and get to the line can score, especially in the fourth quarter. I think I'm a three-level scorer that can get my shot off any time and can space the floor. We got a veteran point guard that can get downhill, and Domas, a guy that, you can go through the roster and you can pick out what guys do and what guys don't do. But I think the really good teams play to their strengths on, like you're not going to see, James Harden off the ball spotting up a lot. You don't put him in pick and roll in a situation to do what he does best. So I think we need to find more opportunities to do that with what we do.
Nique, I know this team's trying to figure out a lot on the fly here, especially with the Keegan stuff. But you personally, first three NBA-ish games, just how would you talk about just your, I guess, direction from then to now?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely just been trying to find a flow within our group, kind of try and establish my role and what I could bring to the team. So I just been trying to bring energy and effort, the two things I can focus on. The shots is going to fall night in, night out. It's you can't hang your hat on that. So I've been just trying to focus on energy and defense, which is what coach preaches, and I feel like I've been able to adjust and kind of get a feel for things. But we getting close to regular season, so I got to continue to learn quickly.
Nique, just the experience of going out there at one point you're playing against Chris Paul, then James Harden, then Kawhi Leonard, and it just feels like, superstars keep coming at you. How are you dealing with that mental process of playing against star level players?
Honestly, I've never been somebody that's super starstruck. Like, these are some high level dudes, and it's crazy that I'm actually here in this position now, going against them. Like, it doesn't even feel real, but for me, I'm confident in myself, and I feel like I belong on the court when I step on the court with those guys, and I'm just trying to prove that and continue to show that I'm capable of playing with those guys. But it is crazy when you really think about what you're actually doing. It doesn't even feel like reality.
Coach Christie, say anything significant to you guys after the game?
Honestly, it's the same message. Just like for us, is trying to find a way to be consistent. Our starting group came out with a good energy and effort for us, and they set the tone. Second group kind of came in, and we didn't hold the standard. And from there, everything just spiraled. And so I think for us as a second unit, we got to be sharper. We got to come out and continue to do what the first group was doing and add on to that. And I think that's honestly why we lost the game was our second unit coming in, and they took a large lead, and it was hard to crawl back after that. But we still figuring things out. It's still super early, and we got a lot more practices, one more preseason game to continue figuring it all out.
Nique, to that point about figuring things out, what do you feel like is maybe the thing that's kind of, I don't know, been the Achilles heel or the thing that's kind of given you guys the most challenge?
I think a little bit of our defense. I think all 3 games we haven't defended as good as we are capable of, and the identity that we want to establish as a team. We want to hang our hat on defense, but we haven't really guarded to the standard that we need to. So I think as a team, we need to come together and continue to build on that. Approach it one day at a time in practice. That's how we're going to continue to get better. Go back and watch the film and see what areas we could be better. But a lot of things we were just beating ourselves. Easy defensive mistakes that if we just clean up, it's a way closer game. And just knowing personnel, I think that was a big thing as well. Letting Brook Lopez get going, that hurt us. So we'll go back, watch the film, and be better.
Nique, back to playing against those stars like Harden and them, but we all watched Harden and seeing how difficult it looks to guard him without fouling. He got you on a couple of them. What was that like?
It's a little frustrating. I'm still trying to learn. They say as a rookie you get all the bogus calls and whatnot, and so I'm still trying to learn that piece of the game. Trying to defend without fouling, which is a little tougher than it looks, but I feel like once I figure that out, it's going to change a lot of things for me defensively, and just learning how to figure out my angles better and whatnot, because I tried to show my hands, got a foul call, reached in one time, thought I hit the ball, got a foul call. So I got to go back, watch the film, like I said again, and just figure out where I could be better to not pick up those early quick fouls.
Doug, I know we heard you after the first game about the level of compete and the 2 battles in each game. How do you assess how your team did tonight in that aspect?
The thing that probably disappointed me the most is like they get off to a decent start. They're moving the ball around. They're doing some good things. The second unit comes in. I think it was like 4.5 minutes in, and 2 minutes and went 11-0. And then you shoot 14 or 15 more shots than them, and we allowed the inability to make shots to affect the intensity at which we played. That's just, mentally you can't do that. You got to fight through. I told them, like, you have to learn how to win ugly games. That game was there. They weren't making shots at the beginning of the game. There was a flow, ball was moving, got some good open looks. You didn't make them. So that should not affect the way that you play on the defensive end of the floor. It just can't. So, yeah.
Oh, we heard Sabonis left to your right.
Yep.
with the hamstring injury late. Do you have any more clarity on that?
No, I'm sure we'll be updated, but no update as of now.
Talked a lot about defense, obviously, and it being a
Yep.
process. Where do you feel like you're at in that process, and how quickly do you?
You know, like I tell them early on, I said, the road to success is full of potholes and is always under construction. So this is not going to be a simple, easy fix. We see some guys, some units that play with an intensity that we want to play with, period. And we have to find a way to hold down the fort at certain times of the game, regardless of what that's going to be, whether it's going to be a zone, whether it's going to be three-quarter court trap and back into a zone, whatever it is. There can't be an excuse of why you don't defensively give the effort and attention to detail. Balls on one side of the court, you got to bring the gym over. Like, guys getting layups and dunks, it's just unacceptable, period. I mean, these guys we've been through drills, but listen, this is on me. I'll figure out a way to make sure that these guys are doing exactly what they need to do. All I need from them is the attention to detail and the effort. Everything else, I've always said, guys, I take all the bullets for that. That's what I'm here for. It's, in my opinion, it's never the players.
Coach Christie, what do you your thoughts? Seemed like when Brook Lopez came in there, he hit 3 or 4 triples, and then that pretty much got them going. What are you trying to get your team to understand? When those type of things. Now, it was a couple shots where your players were right up in his face, but what do you have to do to get them to understand? To try to calm that down, turn that water.
Well, listen, it was a pick and roll, I believe, with Lopez and Chris Paul, if I'm not mistaken. We got over the pick and roll like we just over-helped. No need to help that much. If Chris Paul's going to go downhill and finish at the basket, contested, okay. And we over-helped and we close out short to a guy who, on the scouting report that everyone saw, he's hot. So you got to get to his body. You can't give him any airspace. That's what he does. Make him dribble the ball. Make him go by you. And we talked about it, but the ability to, again, attention to detail, we have to be in those moments. And that's where I think, like, sometimes when you don't make shots, you get in your feelings, and unfortunately, you got to fight through that. That's the mental fatigue that is the game, and we will be better for it.
Doug, don't want to ask you to speculate at all, but to see Domas leave, how tough is that, tonight, given, everything else you guys are already faced with?
I mean, listen, your star player goes down. You never want to see that, period. I mean, I can't speculate on what it is, so hopefully it's nothing. We have some time before the first game, but those are the things that you just do not want to see. But it's part of what we do. It's the same thing with Keegan. Unfortunate as it is, it's part of our game.
Doug, got a glimpse of Saric in the starting lineup, went to IJ as well. Are you able to share any of the takeaways that you had just from the experimenting with those lineups tonight?
I thought Sarge got a couple of good looks. IJ had some moments and flashes. For me, it's not really about what they're doing, offensively, because, you make shots, everyone's like, oh, you look good. Really, it's more defense. Sarge is going to have to be more of a team defensive player, meaning are you in the right spots? IJ, we have to feel you on the defensive end. You're long and athletic. Make sure all the rebounds are yours. Run the floor extremely hard. I have to go back and see what we saw in that. But, yeah, you're right. It's going to be, we got to feel our way through that. It's hard to replace the Keegan Murray. I mean, the kid is 6'8", 6'9". He shoots the ball. He guards the best player. Like, all of a sudden, that's out of your lineup. It's tough.